Good morning, everybody. This is Double Wide 6, and today I'm going to be closing the pool. It's September 29th, 2012, Saturday morning, and I've already started by removing all the chairs and picnic table stuff and the ladders from the pool. The next thing that I did was I rolled up the solar cover, and the water is looking crystal clear. I threw in my automatic Aquabot robot vacuum, and I had it clean up a couple leaves that were in there last night. Right now I have the pump running, so I'm just going to begin by treating the water for the winter closure. So basically what we're going to do to the water is we're going to shock it, bring it up to shock level, and we are also going to put in some algicide. So we're going to add those to the water, let it stir up, and then we're going to begin blowing out the lines with air, and we should be good to go to cap off the ends. So I'm going to take you through the process today, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Thanks. So here's the products I'm going to add to the pool. Basically I'm just going to use 2 packets of shock, so we're going to mix that up, throw it in, and algicide, this is 50%. I'm going to put in a whole bottle, and that should help keep down the algae in the winter. I do use the BBB, which is 3 B's there, and that's my method of maintaining the pool. It stands for bleach, baking soda, and borax. So I use those products to maintain the pool during the season. I also have some other pool videos on how to use the BBB method. It's much cheaper. I could probably just add liquid bleach to bring it up to shock level, but I'm trying to use up these packets here because I no longer need them now that I use standard household bleach for my pool during the season. So I'll mix this stuff up, throw it in, and I'll let it stir up. I just have the pump running, and I'm going to let the pump run for about a half an hour to get all this stuff mixed up properly. I'm going to start out with the shock. Once the shock's mixed up, you want to broadcast it in the deep end of the pool. Alright, now I'm just going to sprinkle some algicide around. Alrighty guys, so while we're waiting for the pool to mix up all the chemicals for wintering, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Teflon tape and I'm going to wrap up my plugs. I have some of these threaded end caps, and I also have these rubber plugs that I use. In the skimmers I use antifreeze. This thing's called the Gizmo. You can use these in your skimmers as well. This is just a 2-liter bottle filled up with sand, a little extra room for air in there. Sometimes I use those instead of the Gizmos, and actually I think that's what I'm going to do this year. So I'm just going to take these things and begin wrapping them with Teflon tape. So here's my Teflon tape. I have a couple rolls of this stuff. And, you know, it's like any plumbing project. A lot of them, it helps to have extra parts on hand. So I have some other bags in the background with some spare parts. And hopefully I should be able to make it through this year with no issues and not having to run to the store. I also have some notes. Like, here's a note, tells me specifically where these plugs go. So at the end of the year, it helps to make some notes and things like that. And you'll also see that some of these rubber plugs I wrap with Teflon tape, and sometimes I actually use the pipe threading compound that, you know, you can basically paint on the fittings, and that works like Teflon tape as well for any small air bubble leaks. So I'm just going to wrap these up a while with the tape and get them ready to go. Alrighty, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove the old hardware. So we're going to take off all the plastic parts. Alrighty, I'm now going to remove the skimmer basket and the skimmer vent door. Here's the basket. And the doors just clip in. We're going to leave the top on when we close the pool. So at this point we have all the return jets removed, all the eyeballs removed, and we removed our skimmer baskets, and we put in the chemicals and mixed up the water for about 40 minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pump water out of the pool, and we're going to lower it just down below the bottom of the skimmer. So we're right at the middle of the skimmer now. We need to take out about 4 to 5 inches here. And I should mention I'm in Pennsylvania, eastern PA, about an hour north of Philadelphia, and we get pretty cold winters, and this is a vinyl liner pool. So that's the process that you should be following. So I'm going to turn on the pump, and we're going to waste some water out of the pool, out the sand filter. So we're just going to pump out the water. It'll probably take about, I don't know, 8 minutes or so. So I'm just letting that pump out. A lot of people use a hose. I don't need to because the water doesn't flow near my house. So I don't have to worry about getting it in my basement. Water looks a little bubbly from some of that anti-algae stuff, the algicide. So we'll just let it pump out. Alright guys, this thing here is a winterizing device. It's basically called a gizmo, and what it does is you screw it down in your skimmer. So my skimmer's over there with the lid removed, and you'd screw it down in the skimmer hole, and this thing's made for 2 sizes, I guess 1.5 inches and 2 inch. I have 2 inch, and there's also an O-ring on here to help it seal. And basically what it does is it allows the ice that'll build up inside your skimmer box there to expand and not crack the skimmer box. So basically what happens is the ice presses against the gizmo, which is made of soft plastic, and it gives a little bit, and that protects your skimmer box. I've had issues with these things leaking and actually filling up with water, so I don't use them anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a plug like this, alright, and this is a number 11 plug. It fits right in a 2-inch PVC hole, and I use a 2-liter soda bottle filled up with sand about almost up to the top, and this soda bottle with the sand, there's some give in it, and that'll allow ice to form and it won't break the skimmer box. So I'll do that for both my skimmers this year. So At this point, my water is down at the bottom of the skimmer box, so if you see that white rectangle, my water level's right at the bottom, and that's how low I go. So the first thing I'm going to begin to plug is actually on my sand filter. There's a gauge, so I'm going to remove this so it doesn't get wrecked, and I'm going to put a small plug in there. So I'll take care of that just by using a wrench and hopefully just loosening it up. Should pop right off. And I have a small plug with Teflon tape that I will put in that hole. Alright guys, I have a Hayward pump, and on the back of the pump are 2 plug holes. Alright, one of these has a plug in it. The other white one is hooked up to my liquidator, which is basically a automatic bleach adding system, so it'll chlorinate your pool automatically. It's a liquid system rather than like those hockey pucks. So what I'm going to do is loosen up this hose, and we're going to tie in an air compressor fitting here. I'm going to be using 25 psi on an air compressor, and I'm going to pump air through the system. So we're just loosening this liquidator up, and I'm going to put in a standard air compressor 1/4 inch fitting, and that way we can add air to the system. So I'll just tighten this up in one of these holes. Doesn't matter which hole you use. I need to unhook the liquidator anyhow, so I'm choosing the first hole on the back. So as you can see, the fitting is now hooked up. I used a little bit of Teflon tape, and if I didn't mention it, there's bubbles all over the place. That's from the algicide. So I'm going to take my air compressor hose, and I'm actually going to hook it up to that fitting, and that's how we're going to add air to the system. And there we go, we're now adding air. Okay, so once you add air to the system, you want to look at the pool and figure out where the air is coming out. So in this case, it's coming out this skimmer. So we're putting enough air or bubbles through that pipe that skimmer is bubbling. So what we're going to do is we're going to seal this up first. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to add, you need boat antifreeze or pool antifreeze or RV antifreeze. And for the skimmers, I'm going to add 1/2 gallon. So you can just put it in here while it's bubbling. So carefully pour it in there. It's just a little insurance in case there's a leak. There will be antifreeze in the pipes, and that'll keep the pipe from freezing. So right there is 1/2 gallon. And then there's 2 holes in here. The one that the bubbles are coming out, you want to put in your plug, and as I said, I'm using a number 11. So I have Teflon tape on it, and I'm going to put it in this hole. And you can see we've stopped the air bubbles from coming up. Just snugging up that plug. And now that we don't see any air bubbles, this side is sealed, and I can put in my sand bottle like this and just cap it off for the winter. Now you want to come back and double check and make sure it doesn't start bubbling, because that would be a sign that there's an air leak. If water did get in the pipe, it should still be alright because there's antifreeze in that one. The next thing that's bubbling, apparently, is the skimmer over on the deep end. So we'll go do that one next the same way. Now that we have the plug in the shallow end skimmer, we're going to come back to the pump and we're going to turn off the other end. So this goes to the shallow skimmer. I'm going to lock it shut, and now we have an air lock. So there's antifreeze in that pipe and air. Now we're going to go on to the deep end skimmer.